Levitt.
Cardinals have committed 2 errors this inning. That's been a big part of how the Padres got here. 2-1 the pitch. Merrill swings, lines it up the middle, into center and a base hit. Diaz has scored. Tatis is on his way. Throw goes to second. It's a 2-run single for Jackson Merrill. And the Padre lead is now 4-1.
The Padres put together a 4-run bottom half of the 5th inning, and they ride that inning to a 4-1 win on this Friday evening here at Petco Park. The Padres come out of the trade deadline just like they entered the trade deadline, a red-hot baseball team. Padres win a 6th in a row as they beat the Cardinals in this series opener by a final score of 4-1. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show here on the Padres Radio Network. Everybody having a good time here inside the Western Metal Building, finishing up their beers and their mixed drinks. And I'll tell you what, San Diego is having a very, very good time with this baseball team right now. Nick Pivetta, 7 strong innings for the win. And then the bullpen, the high velo got it done in Mason Miller and Robert Suarez shutting the door. I caught up with Jackson Merrill on the field right after tonight's series opening win.
Jackson, a lot of new faces in the mix tonight, but you guys continue to roll. Take us inside that clubhouse. What was the vibe after the trade deadline heading into tonight?
Come on, bro. It was electric. Good vibes. You know, it's the moment we walk in the clubhouse, everybody's loud, everybody's having fun. Music's playing, playing ping pong. Everything's going good. We're just appreciative of everything the higher-ups have done for us, and we're thankful to have all these new players.
Speaking of electric, Nick Pivetta, 7 strong innings. What are your thoughts on what he continues to do?
Hey, man, every day I beat him in ping pong. He seems to pitch pretty good, so I'm going to keep beating him. But no, he's been really impressive. He's confident on that mound, and you can tell there's a good presence up there, and it's fun playing behind him.
From one electric righty to another, Mason Miller gets out there. He's pumping 103. What's it like watching that guy?
Man, that's fantastic, and I don't think he understands how much our fans appreciate it. I haven't seen 103 in a while, so, props to him, props to a good job way to get out of that jam, and props to Suarez as always.
Finally, hits for you in 10 of your last 11 games, a big 2-run single tonight. How are you feeling at the plate?
Yeah, man, I'm feeling better, just trying to be short of the ball. I think I got away from myself a little bit, and I'm finally back feeling like I'm short of the ball, just hitting singles all day, and I'll take that all day if I'm helping the team.
Jackson, great job tonight. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Timmy.
Appreciate it.
All right, that was Jackson Merrill right after tonight's game. He had a big hit in that 4-run 5th inning. Padres falling behind 1-0, but they respond with a 4-run 5th. Jackson Merrill, a 2-run hit, and the Padres win this series opener, a 6th in a row. The San Diego Padres all of a sudden gaining steam. A lot of new faces in the mix, continuing to roll, and this was a fun one here tonight at Petco Park. A lot to do on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. When we come back, we'll have all the radio highlights for you. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up a little bit later as well. Padres beat the Cardinals 4-1 in this series opener. Our post-game coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. Another win for the Padres, this time with a lot of new faces inside that clubhouse. The Padres win it 4-1, a sixth consecutive win as the Padres continue to roll. A lot to do on our postgame coverage. We'll go downstairs here from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit. I do want to note for our YouTube audience, I know there is no video feed right now. You should be able to hear me loud and clear. I know there's no video feed right now. I apologize for that. I'll be honest with you. I got up here to the loft after my interview, and my laptop just will not cooperate. It's not turning on. So bear with us. We may not have video for you. I'm going to try. But, hey, you just want to listen on the radio side of things, you can do that as always as the Padres win it 4-1. This was a really well-pitched game. It really, really was by both starting pitchers. Let's tell you about that and more as we go through the game highlights.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup today on the mound for the Padres. Right-hander Nick Pivetta, he has been terrific as of late. Left-hander Matthew Liberatore on the mound for St. Louis. Both guys had very similar outings early. Pivetta a tad better. Pivetta retired the first 12 hitters in a row. He was perfect through 4. Liberatore gave up just 2 singles through 4. So we had a scoreless game going top 5. Wilson Contreras led off for St. Louis.
0-2 pitch is hit hard in the air to deep left field. Laureano's back it up. He is at the wall looking up, and it's going to go. So the first guy to reach tonight for the Cardinals is Wilson Contreras, a lead homer in the top of the 5th inning against Nick Pivetta. And yes, some boos for Contreras as he flaps his wings rounding third, and the Cardinals take a 1-0 lead.
So the Padres trailed 1-0 going to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Liberatore issued a 1-out walk to Jake Cronenworth. Jose Iglesias was next.
Cronenworth, very big lead over there. He's stolen 2 bases in 3 tries. Not running, and a slow grounder to third. Charged by Gorman. Only plays to first base, and it's off Contreras' glove. It'll roll into foul territory. Cronenworth speeds to third base. He'll be held there. And thanks to a mistake or 2, and now the ball is thrown away at third. And Cronenworth will come in to score to tie the game. Contreras was just holding the ball. And you figured the Cardinals were going to call time and kind of reset the play. And he threw to third base. Cronenworth maybe baiting him by coming down the line a little bit. And he threw it completely away. And this thing is 1-1 in the 5th.
Cue the circus music for the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't know what Contreras was doing throwing that baseball. 2 throwing errors on the play. A run came in, and the Padres would certainly take it. The game was tied at 1. A runner in scoring position, Elias Diaz, was next.
Iglesias at second, 1 away. 3-2. And Diaz loops it into left center field. That will get down and a base hit. Iglesias speeding around third base. He'll come in to score. Diaz does it again. And the Padres lead for the first time tonight. It's 2-1.
Padres continued to threaten. Liberatore walked Fernando Tatis Jr. Luis Arraez singled to load the bases. Cardinals then went to righty Matt Swanson. He struck out Manny Machado for out number 2, but Jackson Merrill was next.
Cardinals have committed 2 errors this inning. That's been a big part of how the Padres got here. 2-1 the pitch. Merrill swings, lines it up the middle, into center and a base hit. Diaz has scored. Tatis is on his way. Throw goes to second. It's a 2-run single for Jackson Merrill. And the Padre lead is now 4-1.
A big swing for Jackson Merrill. The Padres putting together a 4-run bottom half of the 5th inning. They led 4-1 through 5, and from that point on, the story was the pitching. Nick Pivetta was terrific in this game. 7 innings, 1 run given up on 1 hit. He struck out 5. In the 8th inning, Padres still leading 4-1, and why not? Go to the new guy. Mason Miller comes in. He's throwing 102-mile-per-hour fastballs, 103-mile-per-hour fastballs. However, he got in trouble. Back-to-back singles to start the inning. Miller got the first out. Then he got a big double play, 5-4-3 to get out of the 8th inning. Padres still led 4-1. They still led 4-1 heading to the top of the 9th inning. It was Robert Suarez time.
Scott leading at first base, 0-1 to Herrera. The pitch is hit hard on the ground, right to Machado. He's got it. It's a second, that's one. Cronenworth's turn to first is in time, and a double play to end the game. Robert Suarez, his major league leading 31st save of the season after Mason Miller worked a scoreless eighth after Nick Pivetta threw 7 brilliant innings. And game 1 after the trade deadline is a 4-1 win over the St. Louis Cardinals.
What a nice win for the Padres, a 6th consecutive win. Nick Pivetta picks up his 11th win of the season. He's now 11-3. Robert Suarez, his 31st save of the season. Mason Miller, his first hold as a San Diego Padre. Final totals here tonight for the Padres: 4 runs, 7 hits, and no errors. For the Cardinals, 1 run, 4 hits, and 3 errors. The Padres improved to 61-49. Cardinals dropped to 55-56. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Much more to do. Your phone calls and more at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We will get to your phone calls coming up later. This is a very, very good time to be a Padres fan. Padres playing well offensively, doing some things we had not seen them do for a while. When you look at this 6-game winning streak, the pitching, the new faces, things looking up in Padre land. They've really been looking up all year. This has been a very good team all year and sitting in a playoff spot by a few games right now. But you get what I mean. Last 24 hours or so, it's been pretty good. A pretty good time to be a Padres fan. 4-1 Padres win it here tonight. We hear from the Padre manager when we return. Padres opening win on this Friday night. Another sold-out crowd here in downtown San Diego. They had a lot to cheer about tonight. Nearly 45,000 in the building, the 47th sellout. Everybody, I hope you understand, 47 sellouts in 53 openings. 47 and 53. That's how amazing the crowds have been here at Petco Park this season. Padres are rolling. They've won a 6th in a row. Offense tonight, they used 1 inning, 4-run 5th inning. They got some help by some very, very shaky Cardinals defense, but to the Padres' credit, they took full advantage. They end up scoring 4 runs in that bottom half of the 5th inning. And the other big story, the pitching, Nick Pivetta, sensational again. 7 innings, just 1 run given up. Mason Miller got in trouble, but got out of it in his Padres debut. A scoreless 8th inning. Robert Suarez throwing up a 0 for his 31st save of the season in the 9th. Let's go downstairs and here's some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
How do you kind of sum that one up, that team effort?
Very tidy. Very clean baseball game, well played, all phases of the game. Typically starts on the mound, did tonight. I think he was fantastic. Stuff was really good. Command of his stuff was, equally important. Throwing it where he wanted to. All speed good, heater good, both sides of the plate, up, down. Outside of the one blemish, he was tremendous. And, Miller and Suarez brought it home.
What were your impressions of Miller, and how good was it to get him into a game today?
Yeah, it was always great. Hadn't been on the mound in about 5 days, and chance to get out there in a nice situation, and I'm sure somebody will ask about how we're going to see how this works. It's just a good spot for him. Get him go out there, and I don't think we got to ease Mason Miller into anything. I think he's ready for anything we can throw at him. But today we threw the 8th at him with a lead towards the middle part of their lineup, and did great. And Suarez, 1, 2, 3.
To kind of ask that question that you just posed, like, how did you settle on the 8th for him and 9th for Suarez?
Yeah, it's going to be fluid. We're going to pass the ball around every day, with the exception of coming off an off day. Typically, are different. The bullpen's getting used, and we got 8 guys that we like a lot. 5 guys that have brought it home, with Tyler ahead, and we're going to go with good matchups, good lanes. We're going to go with freshness. Mason was fresh tonight. Jason Adam didn't pitch the 8th, outstanding 8th inning guy, but pitched 2 days ago. So we're able to pass the ball around, and that's how we see it as far as the closer role again. And there'll be opportunities for Mason to take that role down at some point. But we do have a guy in Robert Suarez who's leading this league in saves, 2-time All-Star, and is a guy that's been fantastic for us for almost going on 2 years now. So, it's a good situation quite clearly, but, it'll always be fluid. And the great news, to finally answer your question, all those guys in there just want to win. They just want to win. They're going to be ready to take the ball when their number's called. So that means a lot too. There's nobody down there, including Suarez, that's saying, I got to do this, I got to do that. And I'm grateful for that, including on the position player side. These guys just want to win. They want to go win and play team baseball.
Do you feel like your bench when you got all the sheets just sitting there ready to go?
I feel great about it. Hearn, his time tonight, his opportunity tonight, goes in, wears one off the shin guard, and then, squares one up later. Both professional hitters that can, we can deploy at the appropriate time. So, it's fun to see a lot of the transactions already worked. Laureano gets him over there late. Didn't get him in, but did his part. Looked good and comfortable in left field. And I thought, I know this guy's got a chance to really hit lefties and righties. He's been better against righties, Laureano. But specifically to your question, having Sheets and Hearn, sitting there to DH or to pinch hit or come off the bench is, clearly allows us to be deep and quality club.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt right after this 4-1 win for the Padres against the St. Louis Cardinals tonight. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building as we continue to wrap this one up. Mason Miller, look, he gave up a couple of singles. Manny Machado also almost made a great play, and we'll hear the double play coming up a little bit later. That was a huge moment in this game when Miller induced an inning-ending double play in the 8th inning. But Mike Shildt made the point there about Jason Adam not pitching in this game, and I thought Jesse and Tony really nailed it when they talked about it late in the game. Having Mason Miller is no doubt a luxury. He's terrific. He's dominant. He's under control for many years to come. You'll love the talent that he is and what he will hopefully be for this Padres bullpen or rotation for many years to come. What it also means is that the workload for guys like Adam, for guys like Estrada, for guys like Morejon, for guys even like a Robert Suarez, it means you can at least a little bit, hopefully, ease the workload off them. This would be a game tonight. If this were just a few days ago, this would no doubt have been a game where Jason Adam, who for most of this season has led Major League Baseball in appearances, would have come into this game in a 3-run game in the 8th inning and bridged things to Suarez. I mean, that would have been the recipe. You can almost say it with 100% certainty that Jason Adam is in this game. But with Mason Miller, well, guess what? Jason Adam, who's been used so much this year, gets a night off. It's a big, big deal. I mean, look, we'll see how it all shakes out. We'll see what the roles are. We'll see if, there are days where Miller will close. Obviously, if Suarez is unavailable, I would expect he would. We'll see how it all develops over the course of the next couple of months and heading into the postseason. But there's no doubt that not only is it a super bullpen and a big five. We haven't really collectively come up with the moniker yet for the five guys and not just the four guys, the four horsemen. But the hope has to be not only will they be incredibly effective, but getting Miller in there will give other guys some more rest. So that's significant in this whole picture. Miller did a good job tonight. He gave up a couple of singles. He was in there throwing 102, 103. It really is something to watch with Mason Miller. He spoke before the game. I'm sure many of you heard the remarks by him, by Ryan O'Hearn. We'll probably play Freddie Fermin for you tomorrow. All the reaction from Manny and Merrill, and you heard Merrill's reaction after the game. Look, I think one of the really, really good things we heard from Mason Miller today, and he's an impressive young man. I posted it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast feed yesterday after the Padres made the trade. I encourage you to go listen to it. An interview I did last year with Mason Miller when he was on the Oakland A's, and he was really coming on the scene and throwing hard and all over social media and having so much success as a closer with the A's. And we talked about his journey, a type 1 diabetic diagnosis, going from a D3 college program to a star in the majors. I encourage you to go listen to it. He's really a good young man, and I think you're going to love him. But one of the things he said during today's pregame media availability inside the clubhouse during his session was, he'll do whatever the Padres ask him to do role-wise. This is not a guy who comes here thinking, hey, I'm the closer. Robert Suarez has got to pitch the 8th inning. No. That's not, you could tell he was being genuine. It's not what Miller thinks. I mean, he's going to be willing to pitch however they need him to. If that's in the 8th inning, cool. If that's in the 7th inning, cool. If that's in the 9th inning in a safe spot, cool. But, man, it's going to be fun to watch him pitch. And I think the overall picture of the bullpen and the health of these guys, it's another reason why it wasn't the worst idea by A.J. Preller in his front office to build on his strength, to improve what was already a dominant back end of the bullpen. No doubt. And then you pair it with the other moves. And look, we talked about it a lot yesterday. The cost was very, very high to do what the Padres did from a minor league prospect standpoint, from giving up Bergert and Kolek. Both were big contributors to this team. But this team got significantly better yesterday. And you feel like it's now truly a World Series caliber and capable roster. And great to see Mason Miller tonight. We'll see how it all continues to progress in that bullpen. Final score, Padres 4 and the Cardinals 1. If you want to get a phone call in, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call if you want to get involved. Padres win this series opener. They win a 6th in a row. Our postgame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Final score, the Padres 4 and the Cardinals 1 as the Padres win this series opener. They are now 4-0 on this homestand. They have won 6 in a row. And all that's now happening after a very, very busy and aggressive trade deadline. We saw some of the pieces on display tonight. Ramon Laureano getting the start in left. We saw Ryan O'Hearn pinch hit once a right-hander came in later in the game. We, of course, saw Mason Miller come in, pumping 102, 103 on the radar gun. And Nick Pivetta, terrific tonight. 7 innings, 1 run given up for the win. A really nice win, and the Padres continue to roll. Let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, presented by David P. Shapiro Criminal Defense Attorneys. When your freedom and future are on the line, you need the best arm in the pen. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com.
Well, we have 2 options tonight. We've got a couple of flamethrowers in Mason Miller and Robert Suarez, and we'll give it to Robert Suarez for putting together a scoreless 9th inning. His 31st save of the season, gave up a leadoff single to Victor Scott II, got a flyout, from Brendan Donovan, and then got a game-ending double play ball off the bat of Ivan Herrera to pick up his 31st save of the season. So a relatively drama-free ninth inning and a 3-run game for Robert Suarez. However, our catch of the game will focus on Mason Miller's inning, because even though Miller was coming in throwing 102, 103, Mason Wynn led off the inning with a 2-strike single. Nolan Gorman, or excuse me, not a 2-strike single, but a single on a 1-1 pitch, in case you care. He leads off the inning with a single. Nolan Gorman then singles to put runners on first and third. And all of a sudden, even though Mason Miller is throwing hard and making his Padres debut, all of a sudden, the tying run is at the plate while Jordan Walker strikes out for out number 1. That brought up Joel Pozo representing the tying run in the 8th inning with runners at the corners, and that set the stage for tonight's catch of the game.
Which defensive play had the biggest impact on today's game?
He is at the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch.
This is the catch of the game.
Gonna hang a star for Jackson Merrill.
Reeled in by Anthony's Fish Grotto La Mesa, celebrating 80 years of seafood excellence.
Gorman at first, Wynn at third, 1 out, and Pozo the batter. Very much a double play candidate. First pitch from Miller, swung on, grounded to third. Manny's got it, goes to second, that's 1. Turn from Cronenworth is in time, and a double play to end the inning. Great stretch by Arise up the first base line. Mason Miller got himself into trouble and then gets out of it. No runs, 2 hits, 1 guy left on base.
Not only was it a very timely double play by the Padres, great stretch at first base by Luis Arise, kept his foot on the bag, a huge 5-4-3 double play to get Miller out of the inning, and that kept the Padres ahead 4-1, our catch of the game. Padres also played some really good defense in this game, very early in the game. In fact, I was texting with our studio coordinator, the great Nick DiNucci, back overlooking Murphy Canyon there at our headquarters, our Padres Radio Network headquarters. And I texted him a couple of times early saying, hey, mark that for catch of the game. Mark that for catch of the game. Manny Machado made a great play on Mason Wynn down the line, that classic Manny throw across his body, falling into foul ground, and great defense. A couple other plays you could put in that category as well, but no defensive play more impactful than what we saw in that 8th inning, with the Padres successfully turning that 5-4-3 double play. Let's talk about the heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the heart of the order. Presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Cardinals have committed 2 errors this inning. That's been a big part of how the Padres got here. 2-1 the pitch. Merrill swings, lines it up the middle, into center and a base hit. Diaz has scored. Tatis is on his way. Throw goes to second. It's a 2-run single for Jackson Merrill, and the Padre lead is now 4-1.
Jackson Merrill led the way for the heart of the order here today. The 3-4-5 hitters in the Padres lineup: Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, Xander Bogaerts going a combined 4 for 12 with 2 RBIs. Those 2 runs knocked in courtesy of Mr. Merrill. So a nice night for the heart of the Padres order. Phone number to call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. What do you want to talk about? This 6-game win streak, this trade deadline, this win here tonight? We've got a lot to discuss. Let's begin things tonight. We go to L.A. It's Kathy. Kathy, you lead us off on the Padres Radio Network on a wonderful Friday night here in San Diego. How are you?
I'm doing great, Sammy. It's been a while since I've talked to you, and I just wanted to let you know that this whole trade deadline was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see what the rest of the season holds. I'm just ecstatic about this, and all the Dodgers fans that I work with are just kind of coping right now, and because they're kind of like, yeah, you know, you guys got a few people, but you know, we're not worried, and with kind of a worried look in their eyes. And I just can't wait for the end of the season, Sammy. I'm so happy.
Yeah, Kathy, appreciate the phone call, and I think you're spot on. I mean, I think you have to be very, very excited with what the rest of this season could bring. I think you should have felt that way even before the deadline, but there's no doubt that what they did yesterday infuses, I think, some real excitement and real confidence in not only the clubhouse, but in this fan base. I mean, again, the cost was high to do what they did yesterday. No one is disputing that. But I said it yesterday. I said it on social media. I said it on the TV newscast this morning on my appearance on one of our local stations. You cannot fault AJ Preller and his front office for looking at what this team is, looking at their commitments, looking at their core, and saying, this is our window right here, right now. This is a team that has been built to win right here, right now. The cost, it was high. You'll worry about that later. Let me also mention that every time the Padres have trades like this, and they made a bunch of them last year, and they've made a bunch of them in years prior, everybody on the outside always looks at it and says they've depleted their farm. I don't know about you, but somehow, some way, I see AJ Preller restocking the farm very, very quickly and then having the ability to a year after make more big trades. Look, AJ is a wonderful talent evaluator, and one thing he does incredibly well is find talent to put in his minor league system. Now, a lot of that talent never gets to the Padres because of the way he operates with the trades, but I'm very confident that AJ, by this time next year, you will have names in this system that are valuable one way or another, whether it be to the Padres or to other teams in a trade. So when you look around this building and you've sold out the place 47 times in 53 openings, I cannot fault this team and this organization for going for it and for going all in and for allowing these fans to feel like they have a true World Series caliber roster. Now, does it mean you're going to win the World Series? Who knows? We're going to find that out over the course of the next 2-3+ months. As we know, we found out last year, nothing is guaranteed. We don't know how it shakes out. October is extremely random in a sense, but the only thing you can do as a president of baseball operations and general manager and as a front office is to put your team in the best position to go do it. And there's no doubt with what they did yesterday, they are a much better team, I think, than they were before yesterday. Let's go to Andrew in San Diego. Hi, Andrew. Oh, Andrew's gone. Let's go to Brandon in La Mesa. Hi, Brandon. You're on the Padres Radio Network.
Sammy, appreciate it. Just came from the game, went with a buddy of mine. He was kind of a little bit more green on what we had acquired. And so I feel like I spent the majority of the game just explaining kind of what happened yesterday. But as we were explaining, we were watching Nick Pivetta do what Nick Pivetta does, lock it down, give up one hit. Don't care if that was a homer, that's fine. And we just enjoyed, because this is what I've been waiting for as a Padres fan for 30+ years. It's just that enjoyment. We have a great squad. We just got better yesterday. You can tell me all you want about the future and what you think about what our squad's going to provide, but there is no guarantee that any of that is going to be great or it is not. All I can do is support my team right now, and I wish more people had that view, and I just really appreciate it. We're gonna rock this. I'm really excited, and just want to hear what you think about the guys we acquired. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Sammy.
Yeah, Brandon, appreciate the phone call. Look, I think AJ did a great job. I do. I think he addressed every need this team had. Now, the only major league roster part of it that I think is a little risky is moving Kolek and Bergert, because I think those guys are very capable. I was super impressed with Bergert, and obviously those guys were big contributors to this team. We'll see how that part of it shakes out, because pitching depth is something they didn't have a ton of before yesterday. You felt like Kolek and Bergert were becoming a part of that, but they decided it was worth it to move those guys, and then obviously go get JP Sears and Nestor Cortez and create, a little depth, replace the depth when they traded Bergert and Kolek. But let's just think about, I'm not even talking about the price and what went back to the other teams. When we're talking about the guys they acquired. I mean, again, he hit every part of this roster, from Mason Miller adding to his strength, JP Sears. We'll see if the Padres can he's been a middle of the road type rotation guy. We'll see if he can go under some Ruben Niebla magic, and maybe you turn him into something even better. But he's somebody who I think could be in your rotation here moving forward. Certainly, Freddie Fermin. I'll tell you what. The reviews I hear about him, and this is from people that are close to the Royals and know him, the reviews are really, really, really strong about Fermin, about the way he works with the staff, about his makeup. If you look at some of the offensive numbers, they're not going to blow you away, but there's no doubt, and no disrespect to Martin Maldonado. But look, I mean, it's an upgrade. It just is. It just is, but based on what the Padres had. And look, Elias Diaz all of a sudden is an RBI machine. That was not the case most of this year. But Fermin is an upgrade, and they paid a high price to get him in Kolek and Bergert, so they wanted him, no doubt. Fermin's an upgrade. Will Wagner, we'll see what he is. He was contributing to the Blue Jays. They optioned him down. Ramon Laureano's having a great year. He's a tough ball player. He's a hard worker. Ryan O'Hearn is a real first baseman, DH type that can hit and hit for power, also having a great year. And then obviously getting Nestor Cortez, little rotation depth. The prospect shortstop Jorge Quintana, he's a ways away. But look, they addressed everything. I mean, we had clamored for them to go get catching help. They did that. To go get a batter too. They did that in Laureano and O'Hearn. And they went a step further and then improved the strength, maybe their biggest strength, in their bullpen with the Miller deal. So he hit all of it. The price was high, but he hit all of it. And just from that perspective, I mean, I said it earlier today. I mean, I'm giving AJ Preller, just to give him a little bit of room to work with, I'm giving him, just from the doing what he needed to do with this team on this major league roster, to me, it's an A-. I mean, I won't give it an A, or I could give him an A and leave A+ as the room. You get what I mean. I mean, it's an A- at minimum. I mean, that he did everything he needed to do for this roster. He addressed every need. There was no need that he did not address and give this clubhouse help. Let's step aside. When we come back, more of your phone calls, 833-288-0973. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and we'll continue to break this one down. Final score, Padres 4 and the Cardinals 1. Our postgame coverage continues after this. Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. Final score, the Padres win it 4-1 against the St. Louis Cardinals. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Let's go back to the phone, squeeze in one more phone call before we get to some of our other segments here tonight. We'll replay my post-game interview on the field with Jackson Merrill coming up in a little bit as well, in case you missed that. Let's go to Blake calling in, who was at the ballpark tonight. Hi, Blake.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Good. So what I want to tell you is this trade, especially O'Hearn and Laureano being at the game, O'Hearn's a gamer. You just see it, taking the pitch off the shin. We haven't seen it since Profar last year. There's an energy with those players that, as well as the Padres have played. We are now allowing Cronenworth, who was third on the team in RBIs and only has 30-something this year so far, to become more effective, allowing Johnson to become a fourth outfielder, allowing Diaz to become more effective without the pressure of having to do everyday catching chores. I think it's going to have a waterfall effect and making everybody else play just a little bit looser and a little bit better, because they know that they have somebody on the bench every game that can pick it up, pinch hit, do whatever's needed. It elongates the lineup. It just does so much. I know you talked about it from a relief standpoint, but from a hitting standpoint, they're a better team now.
Yeah, no, you're for sure, Blake. You're spot on. I mean, look, you're right. I talked about it from the relief standpoint and appreciate the phone call, but you can see it just in the lineup tonight, right? Laureano starts in left. You've got O'Hearn available off the bench, and by the way, you've got Gavin Sheets now on some nights. We're going to see how it plays out. I think it's going to be fascinating to see how all this playing time now plays out. But you had two legitimate left-handed bats off the bench tonight in O'Hearn and in Sheets. And if Laureano's not playing, then you've got a legit righty bat off the bench. The moves definitely lengthen this team and its bench. No doubt about it. And look, from even beyond just a lengthening the lineup, strengthening your bench by adding these guys, there's no doubt about it. You heard Jackson Merrill say it to me after the game. I mean, it juiced up this clubhouse. I mean, you think Manny, Xander, Fernando, the veterans on this team, Jake Cronenworth, list goes on. You think those guys don't understand what A.J. Preller did yesterday and what it said about his belief in this group? You know, I say this lightly, and we could talk about all the prospects they gave up. You know, without talking to him, do you think Manny particularly cares about the prospects and 18, 19, 20-year-olds who are at least a few years away? Okay. I mean, this is a team that's built to win right now. So I think in a lot of ways what they did yesterday, in a lot of ways, it's a big boost. And most importantly, it's a big boost on the field and with the way this roster is constructed. I mean, again, you made the good point, Blake. Yeah. I mean, having O'Hearn available off the bench, having Sheets available off the bench today, big deal. Totally changes the complexion of what they can do late in the game, pinch hitting wise, matchup wise. They just did not have that all year with what this bench was, and they certainly have a lot more of it now. So it's a big part of it. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Everything has gone finally in the major leagues tonight. Giants beat the Mets in New York in 10 innings. Not everything final. 3-2, Rangers leading the Mariners in the 9th inning in Seattle. Reds leading the Braves 3-2 in Cincinnati right now, or I should say beat them 3-2, in Cincinnati right now. Cubs beating the Orioles 1-0 in Chicago. Phillies beating the Tigers 5-4 in Philadelphia tonight. Brewers over the Nationals 16-9 in D.C. Royals beat the Blue Jays 9-3 in Toronto. Red Sox beat the Astros 2-1 at Fenway in 10. Guardians beat the Twins 3-2 in Cleveland tonight. Final in 10 as well. There was a crazy game between the Yankees and the Marlins. The Marlins walked it off with a 3-run bottom half of the 9th inning. That was after the Marlins scored 6 runs in the 7th inning, and that gave them a 10-9 lead in the 7th inning. They scored 3 in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Remember, the Yankees made all those deals for relievers around the trade deadline. Take a look at this. 3 of the guys they traded for, Jake Bird, David Bednar, and Camilo Doval, they combined to give up 9 runs. Not all earned, but 9 runs on 9 hits. The 3 guys they traded for, as the Marlins win it in Miami over the Yanks 13-12. Dodgers beat the Rays 5-0 in Tampa Bay. Rockies beat the Pirates 17-16 in Colorado. 5-run at bottom half of the 9th inning for the Rockies in that one. Brenton Doyle, a walk-off 2-run home run for the Rocks to win it. White Sox beat the Angels 6-3 in Anaheim. A's beat the D-backs in Sacramento 5-1. And that's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Friday evening. Let's hear tonight's play of the game as the Padres win it 4-1.
The line between winning and losing can be razor thin. Which play was the difference between victory and defeat? This is today's play of the game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Iglesias at second, 1 away, 3-2. And Diaz loops it into left center field. That will get down and a base hit. Iglesias speeding around third base. He'll come in to score. Diaz does it again. And the Padres lead for the first time tonight. It's 2-1.
Elias Diaz, an RBI machine as of late. RBI single as part of that 4-run 5th inning gave the Padres a 2-1 lead. And that would be enough here tonight. Padres go on to win it 4-1. Elias Diaz has now driven in 11 runs in his last 10 starts. The last time he drove in 11 or more runs across a 10-start span was 2023. So Diaz, he's played a lot better offensively. He really has been much, much more productive. And a go-ahead RBI single in this one here tonight, our play of the game. Jackson Merrill later in that inning, a 2-run single to put the Padres up 4-1. I caught up with the 22-year-old star on the field right after tonight's win.
Jackson, a lot of new faces in the mix tonight, but you guys continue to roll. Take us inside that clubhouse. What was the vibe after the trade deadline heading into tonight?
Come on, bro. It was electric. Good vibes. It's the moment we walk in the clubhouse, everybody's loud, everybody's having fun. Music's playing, playing ping pong. Everything's going good. We're just appreciative of everything the higher-ups have done for us, and we're thankful to have all these new players.
Speaking of electric, Nick Levitt, 7 strong innings. What are your thoughts on what he continues to do?
Hey, man, every day I beat him in ping pong. He seems to pitch pretty good, so I'm going to keep beating him. But no, he's been really impressive. He's confident on that mound, and you can tell there's a good presence up there, and it's fun playing behind him.
From one electric righty to another, Mason Miller gets out there. He's pumping 103. What's it like watching that guy?
Man, that's fantastic, and I don't think he understands how much our fans appreciate it. I haven't seen 103 in a while, so, props to him, props to a good job, way to get out of that jam, and props to Suarez as always.
Finally, hits for you in 10 of your last 11 games, a big 2-run single tonight. How are you feeling at the plate?
Yeah, man, I'm feeling better, just trying to be short of the ball. I think I got away from myself a little bit, and I'm finally back feeling like I'm short to the ball, just hitting singles all day, and I'll take that all day if I'm helping the team.
Jackson, great job tonight. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sammy.
Appreciate it.
That was Jackson Merrill right after tonight's 4-1 win for the Padres against the St. Louis Cardinals. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube page, the YouTube stream, and typically you can watch any portion of our post-game coverage here tonight. As I said earlier, and those of you watching on YouTube here tonight, we had some technical difficulties. My laptop somewhere between the press box and the loft. In the 10 minutes, I went downstairs, recorded that interview with Jackson you just heard, and came up here. Somewhere in that span, my laptop, it just decided it had enough. It decided it was time, and my laptop won't turn on. So you couldn't see me tonight on the YouTube, but you could hear me. So hopefully you won't hate me for that. We'll hopefully get video back for you pregame tomorrow. Taking a look ahead at tomorrow's game. Speaking of tomorrow, first pitch tomorrow, a little bit different. Note this, 7:10 p.m. Pacific time, first pitch tomorrow. Our pregame coverage begins at 6:10. Pitching matchup tomorrow, right-hander Michael McGreevy on the mound for St. Louis. Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Again, pregame start time tomorrow at 6:10. Taking a look at the final totals in this one here tonight as the Padres win a 6th consecutive game. For the Padres, 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors. The Padres in this ball game left on a grand total of 7 base runners. For the Cardinals, 1 run, 4 hits, and 3 errors. The Cardinals left on a grand total of 1 here tonight. Winning pitcher for the Padres was Nick Pivetta, who improves to 11-3. Losing pitcher was Matthew Liberator, who drops to 6-9. Time of game here tonight, a quick one, 2 hours and 8 minutes. And the crowd at Petco Park, the 47th sellout of 2025, 44,933. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 7:10 p.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 6:10. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Nick Danucci, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from Petco Park. Again, the final score here tonight, the San Diego Padres 4 and the St. Louis Cardinals 1. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.